What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily podcast powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. It is a victory Sunday. Feeling extra good because it's victory over the worst, most, I don't know how to describe it, just embarrassing fan base, embarrassing program, University of Florida, a program that is marked by scandal, and not the fun scandal you make movies about, the scandal you try to hide because it's so disgusting. A program marked by underperformance for years. Everybody thought they should be a powerhouse. They weren't. And then once they finally rose, Miami rose to a level several steps ahead, which is what you're seeing right now. And fact of the matter is, Billy Napier, Mario Cristobal hired the same week, and we see where Miami is, top 5 team in the country, dominant program right now in the state. You look at the University of Florida, and not only did they lose by 3 scores to the Miami Hurricanes, not only is their coach most likely about to be fired, not only are they 1-3 and not even one of the top 3 teams in the state of Florida, competing with UCF somewhere there at the bottom, they actually got less. I apologize. They actually got less yards in this game against the University of Miami than Bethune-Cookman. And they got 0 first down conversions on third down. Bethune at least got 1. So if you compare Bethune-Cookman and the Wildcats and their performance against the Miami Hurricanes, and you compare the University of Florida, should be the flagship university in the state of Florida on paper, compare them to the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. The Bethune-Cookman Wildcats actually did better on offense against the University of Miami. So nail in the coffin for the University of Florida. We're not going to see them for a long, long time. That rivalry is basically on ice because we're not playing them for a while. It was complete obliteration the 2 times we played them here during the Mario Cristobal era, and it's going to be a little bit of a break. Maybe we see them. The truth is we can't see them in the postseason because we're going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to be, scratching and clawing to go to, I don't know, the Citrus Bowl is probably a little bit rich, to A Bowl. I know they've been missing bowls lately, so they're trying to get to A Bowl. What was it? Which one they playing last year? The Emerald Bowl, something like that, might be a realistic target. But Miami's not going to be anywhere near that bowl, so these teams probably won't cross paths for a long, long time. Again, good morning to everybody. Shout out to Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. JR Barr says Canes 26, refs and Gators 7. Yeah, I mean, look, the Marty Brown call, that touchdown, they missed it. They admitted they missed it. They'll admit they missed it in the postgame. It wasn't even close. I mean, it wasn't even close. Russ did a poor job on that one. That would have been 20-0, and this could have been a laugher. It ended up being a laugher. We weren't laughing for a while. You guys know my stance on this game and the Gator program has been pretty clear for a while. I think the program stinks. I think the team was completely overrated in the offseason. I thought they were a total media creation. Pro Football Focus said that Florida had a better offensive line than Miami for the season. I came on this show. I said Pro Football Focus is a joke. We should defund PFF. And I think you saw why. Now, if you take those same PFF rankings, according to PFF, Miami's pass rush grade in that game, and more specifically, UF's pass blocking grade, was the worst that you've seen from a pass blocking unit ever, by 24 points on their rating scale. So according to PFF, which before the season dubbed UF's offensive line to be better than Miami's offensive line, said the U.S. pass blocking game grade in this game against Miami Hurricanes was 24 points worse than the worst ever pass blocking performance in their database. So I think the second stat's probably closer to accurate than the first grade, which had UF as a top 5 offensive line, one of the best in the country ahead of Miami. We said on the show that their offensive line is completely overrated, average unit. Said their talent was overrated. Their team was overrated. They stunk. They didn't add anybody in the offseason. They had an 8-5 team that got completely obliterated by the University of Miami Hurricanes. They had added the 78th ranked portal class, and somehow they expected to sprinkle magic dust and have a good team. And no one called them out on it except for Canes fans, and particularly this program in the chat. So next time that happens and you spot a media creation, that's what happened. It happens every offseason. It happened with Clemson, a team that was 90th against the run last year, yards per carry. Didn't add anybody, really, to get tougher and stronger against the run. And they stink. So, again, there's some media creations here that if you listen to this show, if you participate in the chat, we've been all over as just complete frauds. Now, I'm sure someone will remind me that I thought this game would be pretty close. I was just nervous about all the extra stuff, right? Just the week, right? Some weird thing like, in this case, a wet field, wet ball, a turnover here or there, and just a weird rivalry game stuff where a far inferior team, in this case Florida, would hang around. And when Cormani got the interception, I think we were all feeling that for a second. But ultimately, the score at the end reflected what the difference in the team was throughout the game. I mean, these teams were not within 3 scores of each other talent-wise. They weren't 3 scores of each other coaching-wise, and obviously the final score reflects that. So I think ultimately it kind of ended up where it's supposed to end. CL Smooth says, Ruben Bain is currently the highest graded football player in the country, offense or defense per PFF. I mean, they got that one right, but I think, our grandmas could probably get that one right. He is the best player in the country, certainly on the defensive end of the ball. Brandon, talking about Ba. I mean, look, Ba's a solid back. I said average SEC back, but maybe we'll give a slightly above average SEC back. I mean, are you losing sleep over Ba? Would he run for 40 yards? Other than that, he had a good day. He's fine. We got real dudes here, and we got a real offense and a real running offense. M saying it's time to be honest about Lagway. He stinks. He really does. I thought he was going to be good. I thought that was going to be really my thing with the UF all season was I thought their team was overrated, but I thought Lagway was going to be good. Turns out Lagway also was bad. So that's why they're 1-3. That's why Billy Napier is going to get fired before midseason. Lagway reminds me a lot of Jamarcus Russell. And I'm not talking about like the off the field part of it. I'm just saying the way they play. I think he needs to get coached up. He needs to get to a better system. Obviously, the system he's in is abysmal. I don't think too many quarterbacks are going to be having that much success in that system, but obviously he's playing at a really, really poor level. So as far as being wrong about Lagway, I'm happy to admit I'm wrong because he plays for the Gators. You will never see me sad about admitting a Gator player stinks. That is always a pleasure. But I actually think if you go put him in another system, he could do better, right? He needs reps. He needs health. Missed the whole offseason. And he needs better players around him and he needs a better coach. He's not going to get any of that at Florida. So I think he transfers somewhere unless like a quarterback savant becomes the head coach at UF and they click and he recruits Lagway back. Lagway to me feels like an LSU quarterback. Maybe it's because of that Jamarcus Russell comparison. But I can see him going somewhere like there. He needs to get in better shape. He needs to do some of that. But 0-1 against University of Miami. And what makes me so happy about this particular victory is UF's going to have to sit on this and suffer for a long time because they're not going to play us. They're not going to be good enough to play us. Let's see here. All right, let's just go up and down position by position. That's going to be easier to do it. The quarterback spot, Beck didn't play a good game. He'll be the first to tell you. My only concern really in this game period going forward, because I thought it was a great win for the University of Miami, is, Beck did not really throw the ball with a lot of zip in this game. Knox Kane asking, is he hurt? Favoring his arm a few times during the game. Post-game on-field interview, he was pressing on his elbow. I didn't see that. I don't love that. It did look a little, I didn't see the velocity we're used to seeing. Maybe it was just one of those games. I know with Brock Purdy, who's going to be the comparison. I remember when he came back, he had some bad games, and people would say like his elbow's not looking good or the ball's not going out with as much zip. And then he'd come back and have a great game. So maybe it's just part of the process. Also, I would say he had a wet ball to throw, and he's not the biggest handed guy, Carson Beck. So sometimes with quarterbacks that aren't overwhelmingly strong with their hands, wet ball can hurt them more than maybe other quarterbacks. So look, he didn't play well. I thought his accuracy was off on top of just the velocity stuff. Made a couple bad decisions. Just didn't feel very comfortable. There's a lot going on there. I'm not that worried about it, assuming the health is fine. I think this is actually a good game for him to struggle a little bit because now you're going to have this whole bye. You know he's going to be ready to rock against FSU, and I think he's going to have a phenomenal game. But this was not a good game for Carson Beck. He'll be the first to tell you, and Miami's still able to pull up the 3-score win. Some of that credit goes to UF's defense. They've been stingy. I don't think they're very good, quite frankly. I thought we should have been up 30 in the first half, if not for self-inflicted mistakes. But Beck will be fine. I think if assuming his health is fine, which I have not heard anything, I know what you guys know just watching the game. I think this bye week's going to help him just kind of get right because it looked live the game before. I mean, the ball was coming out hot on some of those in breaking, some of those digs. I mean, he was throwing with some velocity. So I think he might just need some rest. Just the whole team, the bye week is pretty well timed. But bottom line on Beck, he was 24-3 as a starter at Georgia. He's now 4-0 as a starter at the University of Miami, including 2 big out-of-conference wins, 3 big out-of-conference wins against teams that either were ranked at some point this season or were ranked when we played them. So you look at that. He's now 28-3 as a quarterback in college football playing real teams. I mean, take what you want with that information. But to me, he's a winning quarterback. He'll find a way to get it done. Very good between the years. Here's what Rich says. I said, I've had elbow surgery and this sucks. It's hard to lift over anything over 10 pounds after having that surgery that he had. So yeah, I think ultimately I think he'll be fine. But good time for a bye week for Carson Beck. I think he's going to come out strong against Florida State, moves to 28-3 as a starting quarterback at the University of at the Miami and the University of Georgia, but against real deal competition, and he's our quarterback. J.R. Barr's talking about Fernando Mendoza. Look, I mean, I like the guy we got. So Beck's our quarterback, but because I have hyped Mendoza on this show, I just want to point out because people, when me and Pete were talking about Mendoza, me and Pete were talking about Mendoza after the Auburn game because we watched the Auburn game. I remember we were sitting there in the studio, the old studio we used to record in. We're just like watching that game, and we're like, man, this guy is more athletic than we thought. This guy's pretty talented. And then I remember we were kind of hyping up Mendoza. Obviously has a good game against Miami. And then when he went in the portal, people were like, "Oh, Mendoza, this is the Cuban Emery." You guys just are hyping this guy because he eats croquetas. This guy stinks. He's dead average, Miami-Dade bias, whatever. Mendoza is probably going to be the first pick of the draft based on the way he's playing right now. If you guys watch the highlights of his cupcake game and then now the game against Indiana, which I believe was ranked top 15, Fernando Mendoza might be the first pick of the draft. I don't want to sidetrack with that, but if you don't believe me, watch those highlights. That guy is playing pretty well. Dan Alden saying Purdy had similar issues during his return. That's what I remember. And then ultimately, he had a great year over the course of the season. Hey, the Real Mike's in the chat. What's going on, Real Mike? Recovering from Las Rosas. Spick and span, fresh as a daisy. Tuning into the CanesInSight Daily podcast, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Yeo said, been listening to the Lebo show since elementary school, Mike. In J school now because of y'all. Thank you, Mike. Hopefully you're not trolling. That's nice to hear. Look at that. Very positive this morning. I love it. Gio saying Mendoza at Hard Rock next year on Sundays. So maybe there's a lot of guys that are going to be in the mix there. So that's the quarterback position from the Miami standpoint. I would say running backs, outstanding. Mark Fletcher had a very, very quiet. Oh, real quick. Shout out to my guy, Gubice. Great meeting you as well. Great meeting the family. Awesome, man. Awesome meeting you. And shout out to Sister Darris, man. It was awesome. Awesome meeting you. R.I.P. Rick Darris. That was awesome. Awesome to see you. And especially after a win. I know he's enjoying that one. Mike Ryan said, D, your take on the receivers last night. All right, well, I'll get to running backs later. Let's start with receivers. I think this bye week, one of the reasons I think this bye week is very important is because we need in this offense some more explosive playmaking, in my view. And I think the bully ball is the name of the game, is how you win championships, but you do need explosive playmaking as well. Like we have the foundation and the high floor because of it. We do need the explosive playmaking. And I think there's really 3 guys that right now are able to get us to that point. where we can make those big chunk plays. And I think you're talking about Jordan Lyle, who's right on the verge of playing. Again, he's going to have a bye week now to heal. The fastest of the 3 top backs. JoJo Trader, probably a similar place. He'll be ready, I think, by the time the bye week goes through. He was there in pads yesterday. He adds that different element to the receiving core of the big plays. And then Elijah Lofton, who you saw a little bit. I know I'm talking about different positions, but I just think overall we just need a little more explosive juice, and that's my take overall. On the receivers, I mean, Daniels dropped one that he always catches. Malachi played well. They were blocking outstanding. Malachi was pancaking guys. Marion didn't really get going. They're going against some pretty good defensive backs. I don't think anything special, but SEC athletes. We need a little more juice. I think we really, really need both JoJo to come back with some of that. We need Elijah Lofton at the tight end / running back / Elijah Lofton position to get some of that juice, because even at 60%, you saw him yesterday jumping over guys. He can really make a difference. There's a reason why the announcers, Fowler, was talking about how much the staff loves Lofton and wants him to get going. Mario in the postgame was going crazy over Lofton, basically saying, like, look, man, this guy's been in the training room. He's been hurt. He's dying to show everybody how great of a football player he is and how good we know he is. Again, those who've been to practice, they've seen the real Lofton and how dominant he can be. And the coaches will be the first to tell you about that. But we haven't seen on the field. We need him healthy. He can make explosive plays, particularly after the catch. And then Lyle, who I mentioned. So I kind of went all over the place on that question, Mike, but I think my big takeaway is receivers are blocking. The culture is going well. And I think CJ Daniels catches that ball 9 out of 10 times. That really hurt us. But we need some explosive playmaking at multiple positions there. Albert asking why Jordan Lyle dressed not playing. He's close. But with Marty running the way he was and and Fletcher, you don't really need it. Carla, my cousin, asking about College Game Day. Yeah, it was awesome, Carla. That was a huge infomercial for the Canes. I needed to end with the win. It did. So the whole weekend really took care of business. Shout out to Keith DeChuck. Took a picture of my kids. A great dude from what I saw, and he was part of a big weekend for South Florida and for the University of Miami. It's kind of going back to the running back position. Fletcher had a quiet 100+. He's one of the best backs in the country. I thought we could have used him more, quite frankly. I'd love to see Fletcher on some more screens, because when he gets going in the open field, he is punishing to those defensive backs, but a very quiet 100 yards, elite pass blocking as usual. He's one of the best backs in the country, period. When you look at the whole package, there aren't too many guys in the country. I mean, let's ask you this. Guys, you watch college football. How many guys are you trading for Mark Fletcher? I mean, I'm not trading for many in the country. There's no one bigger than him. There's no one tougher than him. There's no one more demoralizing than him. Certainly no one better pass blocking than him. And then he's running and getting 100-yard games, pretty easily. What's he, over 6 yards a carry, I think, still. So I'm not trading him. Certainly not trading that combination with Marty, who was Marty Brown's catch, that one-handed catch that he made was probably the play of the game from Carson Beck. That catch and run was phenomenal. And really, I think when you look at this game, that was when it got out of hand. Once that catch was made, went on, scored, it was over from there. So I think that was the play of the game. Marty Brown's been a huge addition, especially with Lyle out. We would have been light at running back with Lyle out. Now you got 3 guys, and injuries happen over the course of the year. Hopefully nothing serious, but it's going to continue to happen. So Lyle's going to end up having to relieve one of these guys probably at some point. So it's all going to work together. That's what happens when you have a 3-headed running back room. Again, we'll see when Lyle comes back and starts playing, but I'm not trading our running back room for anybody in the country, period. Penn State fans or fans of, you're a homer. We got 3 good ones, man. And we got three guys that play the right way, that pass block, that run people over, that play championship level football. Chris said the national media disrespect of Fletcher at the start of the season was maddening. I thought the national media always respected Fletcher. I thought the disrespect was our own fans sometimes, to be honest with you. People gas up everybody else. They forget our own guys sometimes. Yeah. So Gio's saying the SEC came out and hammered the refs for a similar missed call in the OU Auburn game. They need to do the same again here. Yeah, not a good weekend for SEC refs. I mean, it was blown call. I mean, there was no black or gray, right? It was black and white. Marty Brown never stopped running. It was clear as day. It would have changed the game. Would have been up 20-0. It was an obvious missed call on that long touchdown run. So that's the running back position. If we throw SJ Alfatuli in the running back position playing fullback, he was outstanding as well. I really keyed in on him. When he had opportunities, SJ was excellent at fullback. Big number 46, I believe. Yeah, he's not 45, 46. Big number 46, SJ. Shout out to him at fullback, making an impact as he gets bigger, becomes our center of the future. Tight end, I mentioned Lofton. I've seen Lofton do a million things in practice. He's not there yet physically. Morrow said he's been living in the training room trying to get back, but he's still not himself. But even then, you see, he catches the ball, jumps over guys, does his thing. He had a nice route on number 5 to catch a first down on a play that was a throw from back that was probably a little off time when and got it. But Lofton played much better, and he's only going to get better. I think you're seeing 50% of what Lofton can do as a blocker, because he's not been blocking that well, because again, he's banged up. I think he's protecting himself a little bit, but you saw him last year. That was basically his role. He'd come in as a fullback and blow people up. He can do that. And then he has a little more dynamic movement skills than we've seen. But even with that, he still made an impact. I think the bye week's going to help him. If you have 100% Lofton, he's an impact player on this offense, and we get a lot of juice out of that. Bauman's not doing his thing right now. He's struggling. The timing's off. Again, didn't have the offseason. Didn't have the offseason with Beck, really, and also didn't even have an offseason period. He missed spring. So I think he's still getting his timing right. We need to get more out of him. Luka Gilbert had a rep there on goal line. So Luka Gilbert's at least playing a little in some of these bigger moments. We'll see over the course of the bye, this little bye Louisville game, little sandwich here with the FSU and Louisville sandwich with buys. We'll see how that one goes as far as Gilbert getting up to speed. But I think by the end of the season, you'll see him playing more. But Bauman can do more than he's doing, but he's struggling right now. There's no other way to say it. Offensive line, best in the country. What are we even talking about? Nicholas says that O-line rugby push we do is insane teamwork, O-line IQ. Nobody does it better. I agree. It is the best offensive line in the country. Pass blocking, run blocking. I thought the best offensive lineman last night was Markel Bell. If you watch Markel, like when you guys watch either the game again, the highlights, the condensed game, however you like to rewatch these games, watch Markel Bell because he made Tyreek Sapp, number 94, quite frankly, look like a child. I mean, it was like embarrassing. It was unfair to watch 94 Tyreek Sapp, who some publications, not CanesInsight.com, I promise you that, but some other publications had him as a first-round pick. I don't think he was ever that, but if you had any thought that he was in that conversation, it was ugly every time that 94 went against 70. I mean, you couldn't even see 94. Like, he literally disappeared in the play. Like, you only knew what number he was if he got turned. And then you saw, okay, that's 94 getting turned as the gap opens up. So Bell's really, really working hard, has worked hard. I thought against Notre Dame, he was probably pretty, okay. Wasn't his best game. But then this game, dominant. Best player on the field, I thought, aside from, the other side with Ruben Bain. But on the offensive side, he was the best player on the field. He looked huge. There was that viral video of some streamer just watching Bell, laughing at how big he is. But, man, he is very, very impressive. I'm seeing major trajectory from him every time he gets better because he works hard and he has the size. But overall, offensive line was great. You saw McCoy and Okunlola both playing a left guard. McCoy had some really, really powerful blocks himself. He is a big dude on his own accord. Okunlola, there's a question about his injury. He got hurt a couple times, but nothing serious here. He always came back. I don't think he's fine. I don't see anything there. Tito asked me to retract the Sweet Caroline comment. I mean, I hate Sweet Caroline. I said it from the beginning, but if I was being honest, Tito, when they played that stupid song when we were at the complete bottom of vibes, it was 13-7, we were playing terrible, and then they played that song. I remember thinking, man, of all the times to play the song is when we were terrible. Then they play the song, the whole crowd, not the whole crowd, I wasn't singing, but a large portion of the crowd was singing. It did hit with the crowd. And then after that, we went and scored, and the game was over and was off and running. So I made the tweet. I said, listen, I hate to admit it because I'm not a fan, but that song did get the crowd hyped, and it did lead to some success on the field. So I can't hate on Sweet Caroline this week, Tito. It would be dishonest for me to do so. But by the way, 1,200 on. Like and subscribe to the show. Ladarius Benson, I like the buys. Like you said earlier in the summer, they come up before we play teams with offenses that need extra time dedicated to them. Yeah, that's what I like about it is FSU and Louisville are the two toughest games remaining on our schedule before the ACC championship and the playoffs and all that. So having a bye to prepare for those guys at least lets us focus on their kind of unique offenses, which are very different from each other. FSU with Malzahn, Louisville with Brom. So Louisville has some pretty explosive playmakers themselves. They're going to be a tough out. Lacey returned to kick yesterday. He's dynamic. Chris Bell, big, fast receiver. So these are teams that you do need to prepare for. I don't love it like as far as playing all those games straight afterwards and then going to the ACC championship game, but I think there's a benefit to them. At least the first bye, we need big time. We need some rest. So let's go to the defensive side of the ball here. As Albert McKinney says, I knew Lightfoot was fast, but he's running like a defensive back out there. He is incredible, man. Jesse G saying Lightfoot was amazing in the cheetah package. He's going to be a problem. He puts on muscle. And look, he'll get stronger and more firm and just kind of like, he'll grow up. But Jason Taylor never got bigger, like really bigger. He got stronger. He learned how to use his hands more, but it's not like Jason Taylor ever looked like Myles Garrett. It's just kind of how his body is. So with Lightfoot, he is as fast as any of our DBs. You saw him on that fourth down where he was dropping into coverage, made that tackle and stopped him short on fourth down in pass coverage. Forget what he does rushing the passer, spin moves, hurrying, running guys down to the sideline. He is so active and so athletic and so long. He could change directions. He's fast. He's just a maniac out there, man. I don't know how else to say it. He's everywhere. The play that got my attention with Lightfoot is, I want to say the opening kickoff, the one that Vernell Brown took out. Lightfoot, first of all, how many defensive ends play kickoff? Number one. So that tells you his mentality, his speed, his aggressiveness as a 5-star player. Flies down the field, knocks someone out, makes the tackle, and then, of course, does everything after that. So Lightfoot's a stud. 5-star player, 5-star production, and playing at a really, really high level. Ruben Bain, we're talking about the best player in the country right now. I would say probably right now. I mean, you put John Mateer in this mix because John Mateer is playing really well. I love him. I think with Mateer, and we all love him. Everyone loves Mateer, and everybody thinks he's good. I think he's getting a little bit of a bump just because he's so fun to watch. I do think when he plays some of these more difficult teams, you're going to see some bad games from him. They kind of knock him out of the conversation. So let's put him to the side. He's certainly in the conversation right now. But other than him, I would say the 3 best players in the country have both been from Miami, or have all been from Miami, which is Ruben Bain, Mendoza, and Jeremiah Smith kind of permanently in that category. So Miami-Dade County is kind of coming back here. I know Smith played in Broward. He's a Dade County guy. So shout out to Dade County kind of escalating back to where they've been in the past, at least with the top end. But Bain, I mean, what can I say? The motor, you saw him running down some of these plays, the extra effort plays that he wasn't even involved in. He was just knocking guys out or someone would escape and he'd clean it up. His effort is just like a walk-on top of being as a supremely talented player with power, with bend, with speed. He's the highest graded player in the country, PFF. I'm not a big PFF guy, but the eye test I've not seen better. When you look at the motor, the power, the run, the pass, point of attack, backside, you name it. He's doing it at a high level, and he's doing it with a tremendous amount of effort that sets the tone for the rest of the unit. Messidor's been just as good as him. Messidor, I talked about on the show when I interviewed him for Storm Sessions, which is a great interview. You should check it out during the bye week. I'm going to repost some of these Storm Sessions because that's good bye week content if you're bored just to watch some of these interviews with these kids that are playing so great for us on Saturdays. But Messidor, I call him a kid. He's 23 plus, maybe 24. He's old, and he's picked up stretching, he picked up swimming, kind of the old man stay in shape stuff. But man, you see how fast and quick he looks. Always been good with his hands, always been strong. He was a defensive tackle for us last year, and now he's out there running down everything. He is a high school linebacker. So when you have a high school linebacker and you get him in their prime shape, which is what Messidor is in now, you see some of that movement ability. And look, he is not this player. This player is in a whole different planet athletically from everybody else. But the ways he's effective. You think of Micah Parsons, who was a linebacker at times in Penn State. It's talking about like an off-the-ball linebacker, and you see him at defensive end. And the way he moves and the way he attacks. Again, different universe athletically, different universe as far as like NFL projection and all that stuff. But just I'm talking about the college level, the way they play. I think you could tell Messidor has experience as an off-ball linebacker now that he's in that tip-top shape and he's moving around. He is really, really dominating. Defensive tackles. Excuse me. So a lot of screaming last night. Defensive tackles, rock solid. No one's running the ball against us. We've now played Jaden Baugh, who I was told was some sort of elite running back. Jeremiah Love, who I actually do believe is an elite running back. USF, who has that elite running quarterback or a strong running quarterback and just a very tough style to defend. No one's running the ball on us. No one's doing really anything on us up the middle. So our defensive tackles at the moment is as good as you can be with Blay, Mon Moten playing at a very, very high level, Justin Scott doing his thing. So we talked about this up top in the comments, but let's go back to a UF pass block graded out to a 2.3 as a whole, not at 23, but at 2.3, which I understand to be the worst in the history of PFF by 24 points. Again, this is a pass blocking unit that before the season, Pro Football Focus ranked over the Miami Hurricanes, and we came on this show. I think we did a whole video saying that they were absolute maniacs for doing that, and I think you could see what I'm talking about. Raf Lopez, USF Brown, Byron Brown at 2 yards versus Miami. The midget at FSU, the dwarf, let's call him a dwarf or a little person. The little person at FSU has to hope there's no one outside, but he's definitely ain't going inside. Yeah, I think that's a good matchup for us. Just got to heal up, and I think we'll talk about that plenty. But I think the bye is at a good time. I think it's gonna be a tough game for FSU. I hope they beat Virginia. I mean, I don't know. I'm a mixed feelings. I always hope they lose. But I would love a big college game day, top 10 matchups. I think we're going to kind of beat them up pretty good. Let's see what else we got here. Get into this talking about safeties. Before we get to the safeties, let's go to the linebackers. Mo Toure, the physical tone he brings, that hit, he had a hit on, I want to say, Baugh on a third down that was extraordinarily violent, not close to targeting. He really smashed him through his forearms and his shoulder. But, man, he obliterated somebody on a third down. Was active all night, 10-plus tackles. Huge addition and getting better. I think the speed's going to get better and better over the course of the year, again, as he gets further removed from his injury. Wesley Bassane had some nice tackles as well. You saw Chase Smith get in there. I thought Popo Aguirre did some nice things, particularly on special teams. So that unit's really improved. No other way to say it. We're stopping the run at an extraordinarily high level against good competition. I think the ACC is in trouble. Yo, thank you, Sean, for this play. That jet sweep, Messidor's change of direction and speed was so good on that play. Most defensive ends are getting ran by on that play. Messidor ran it down. I believe it was Quincy Wilson and just obliterated him on the sideline. That was an unbelievable play. Not just the hit, which was violent, but the change of direction and awareness and patience was spectacular. Great point here by Jason Williams. People get hurt when they play us. Number 9 for them got smacked out of the game. I mean, you saw USF. They're not going to be right for a month. I don't think UF's going to lose every game after this game. I'll say it right now. What's University of Florida? What's UF schedule? Give me a second. Let me pull up UF schedule right now. So, University of Florida, 1-3. The only victory over Long Island University, the law firm. So they're playing Texas, then they're playing Texas A&M, they're playing Mississippi State, Georgia, at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, versus Tennessee, Florida State. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think they lose. Yeah, so they might lose 10 games this year. I think they're going to be so beat up by this. They might lose 10. So hope they don't hurt our strength of schedule too much. But I just think leaving this game, they're going to be so beat up and demoralized. Forget the stuff with the head coach. I just think they just got punked a little bit physically. So they're going to be hurt. They're going to be hurt after this game. Safety. We got to talk about this. So Jaden Hewitt, great point here. Appreciate you. This is the point I want to get to, that Zechariah Poyser was headhunting again, too. He's a violent player. Him and Thomas are a dangerous duo. I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say this. So Jacoby Thomas, huge addition, number 8. Elite tackler, which I didn't, I knew he was going to be knocking heads, maybe tempting targeting, which actually hasn't even been close to a targeting, knock on wood. But he is tackling with fundamentals on top of killing people. So Jacoby Thomas, the edge he's brought to the defense, along with Toure, the experience, the body type. And we said it when we got him. We just need a little bit more violence here, and that's what we got with Jacoby Thomas. He's added a huge piece to this defense that we did not have last year or the year before. We just had that violent player that set the tone. Jacoby Thomas has done that, so he's been outstanding. Also very active as a blitzer yesterday. But Zechariah Poyser, number 7, who was probably the higher touted safety coming out of the portal, been quiet, nothing bad or good, but just kind of been quiet. But man, he was flying around hitting people too. He almost hurt himself at some point, but got through it, didn't leave the game. So he really, I think he's a physical player to begin with, but seeing Thomas just knock people around, I think that's got him fired up. JR saying Ray Lewis dance for Jacoby Thomas. Yeah, a lot of love for him. The way we're hitting is different. I agree. I think he sets a tone there. And Jason Williams talking about his timing on blitzes. Yeah, Thomas is a stud. But again, I think Poyser really picked up where Thomas left off, and he was flying around as well. So Knox Kane says, my wife's a lifelong Vols fan, says you're welcome every time he makes a play. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Knox Kane, and then the Tennessee Volunteers, because this dude is a real deal player. I don't know how that was. Talking about the portal recruiting, man. To get a guy like that from an SEC team that's also pretty good, like, that's pretty hard. I mean, just taking a player like that. Yeah, Luca Falsetto, best offensive line in the country. Utah offensive line disappointed me this week. I agree. I had to rewatch that game. I was watching it kind of out of the corner of my eye because we were doing the live stream. Utah's tackles, who are both first-round projected picks, got knocked around a little bit by Texas Tech, who has a good defensive line. They spent a lot of money on it. Probably the most expensive defensive line in football, actually. They knocked around Utah pretty good. So I think I had Miami and those guys pretty close. I think seeing that, I'm putting Miami significantly over. I just think they have a little more size. Spencer Fano, really athletic player, but he's a little light. He needs to get stronger. I think this, whereas Markel Bell, you're definitely not running through his chest. Mike's saying, yeah, I love that Texas Tech defense. Listen, portal matters. Portal matters. You know who didn't portal that much? Clemson. They got one guy in the portal, Will Helt, who's been their best defensive lineman, better than the 2 guys that were supposed to be top 10 picks. That was the only guy the Purdue transfer, the only guy they brought in the portal really on defense. And he's good, but the defense stinks. Florida, 78th ranked portal class. Terrible team. So the teams that worked the portal, Texas Tech obviously being one of them, but Miami, look at our portal. David Blay, pretty good player. Mohamed Toure, pretty important player. Jacoby Thomas, Zechariah Poyser. Our secondary, I mean, no one's passing on us. I know there's a lot to that. We haven't played like a top-of-the-line passing game yet, but no one has passed on us at all. So there's a reason why the portal's there, man. You got to use it. I don't know why you wouldn't do something that is there for you. It just makes no sense. Albert McKinney said, Thomas is killing. We did all that waiting on A.J. Halsey for him to go to LSU. Yeah, look, Halsey's doing good. Thomas is doing good. I don't think we're trading Thomas for anybody. So great job by him. Ladarius Benson saying, great tackle by Keontae Scott in the open field. Yeah, he's a dynamic player. Very active. He was all over the place, as always. He's been, talking about the portal, put him in that mix. He's one of the best players on our defense, one of the best nickels in the country. Ethan O'Connor played a lot, loved his energy. Yeah, we're killing it right now in the portal. Over 1,500 on, by the way. Like and subscribe to the show. What else we got here? Yeah, so that's safety. Dylan Day would have loved on special teams a little bit. We'll talk special teams in general, but, you know, he needs to be a little better awareness on some of those punts. Because I thought Dylan Joyce did a good job, and he was there. We just couldn't get it in. Corner, not much to report. I mentioned Keontae Scott flying around. Those guys didn't get tested at all. UF can't throw. So that was not even a comparison. That was not even a thing. Special teams wise, I think they did a good job. Vernell Brown didn't get going, which is something I was worried about. We could have executed better on some of those punts in the deep red zone, or in the deep, what do you call that? The negative zone for the Gators. We could have pinned them pretty deep, but we missed some opportunities. Good punts by Joyce. Carter Davis, to quote my man Pete, who, if you didn't see his post-game Pete reaction show, talking about our offense being a boa constrictor and our defense, a boa constrictor, non-venomous. Check out his post-game. Post-game Pete was in rare form. You got to check that one out. But, you know, like he says, the pigskin sounds a wee bit different coming off the boot of Carter Davis. 53 yards easily. You heard Fowler on the hot mic talking about, man, this guy's a hell of a kicker. That was like not knowing he was being recorded. That's a position we might be. We thought that was going to be a huge drop-off. Might not be a drop-off. I don't know if we're going to see the consistency that we had with Borregalo's best kicker in Miami history, but I think power-wise, going to be awesome. Luca Falsetto, since we're on bye, what's the CI's podcast going to be like? Hopefully you guys break down this week's game in the landscape of college football. Yeah, I'd love to. I think we're probably going to do a lot of that. And then Canes always are a thing. There it is. Post-game Pete, man. That's the hashtag. You know, they already know. Raph knows. Post-game Pete, the boa constrictor as he grabs his biceps. Yeah, Pete was on fire, man. He's the best. But that's why he doesn't go to the games, man. He's got to save it for the post-game. So you guys got to check it out. Peanut saying kicker's got ice in his veins. Look, there's going to be a lot of big kicks to come. Hopefully a lot more extra points and kind of game-winning field goals. But the one he hit in this game was huge. Kept throwing momentum out, and he was really, really hammering it. They're saying Peter gets banged up watching Canes game. I don't think he does, man. I think that's just kind of how he is. That's really just personality. Saying need the recruit reaction from this one. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to some kids here, but I think I'll tell you who would love this game, even though he's already committed. You get to fight for him still. Jackson Canwell, who's there. If you're Jackson Canwell and you're watching that game, what are you thinking? Seeing the offensive line just bury the Gators to end the game. I know what I'm thinking. I know what I'm thinking right now, actually. What I'm thinking is I want to go to East Las Canarias, man. It's getting to lunchtime. I'm getting hungry. So if you want to have the absolute best Cuban food on planet Earth, you know what it is. It is East Las Canarias Cuban Express. Established 1977. Still rocking and rolling and expanding. You see the menu. You got all the classic stuff, but see some non-traditional stuff as well with traditional flavors. Eileen Andrade, one of the best chefs in South Florida. She has chef's favorite kimchi mojo pork. And she's a fine dining chef on top of a traditional Cuban chef. So you get all different flavors here at East Las Canarias at the Dayland Mall. If you guys are from out of town, you're watching this in your hotel room, you're like, hey, let me get some food before we go back home. This is where you want to go. East Las Canarias Cuban Express, right there in the Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion, the best Cuban food on the planet. And by the way, I want to talk about some other friends. That is KashKick.com. This is a really, really, really cool deal they got going on with KashKick. They are, first of all, we know what KashKick does. Download the app. You get all types of great games. You see them here. Monopoly, Solitaire, Fashion Makeover. I mean, literally anything you're into. Bank Tycoon. There's so much of a variety of games here. So whatever you're into, they can get you with the KashKick app, one of the top apps on the Apple Store, the App Store. I believe it is top 5 in the lifestyle category, right in front of Pinterest. So you're talking about a big time app, over 4.5 average rating. And best part, you play all these games, you compete, you can make some extra money on the side. And it's not just for you. So this is a really, really cool deal, which is if you want to donate to the American Cancer Society, but maybe you don't have the money, you can donate to them just by playing games. That sounds ridiculous, but it's true. As I go here to play it forward, this is at .cancer.org. This is, again, this is as legit as it gets. And we're talking about the American Cancer Society. You play these games with Play It Forward. In-game advertisers will reward you by matching every dollar you earn with a donation to the American Cancer Society, honoring those impacted by cancer, celebrating survivors' milestones, and keeping the spirit of giving alive. So with Play It Forward, you're playing the games, having fun, making some extra money on the side, and then it's being matched with donations to the American Cancer Society. So you want to talk about a win-win-win? That's a triple win because you're playing the games, which you're doing anyways. You're making money. You're not doing unless you're with KashKick, KashKick, and you're helping the American Cancer Society. So the rare triple win. Although we might be going for the rare triple win in Florida here as we beat Florida, USF, and now FSU on the way. Talk about, there it is, the boa constrictor, baby. Big Papa says, post-game Pete is like James McAvoy in the movie Split. His alter ego personality, the dude gets scary. Post-game Pete is a dog. A lot of talk about Castellanos. I think he'll be fine. I hope he's not hurt. I want to beat him at his own game here. What else we got? Kevin Dennis asked for a Tank Jones update. I haven't talked to him other than I saw him yesterday when he stopped by the Lickin', which we were going pregame at the Lickin'. Great home game experience. Shout out to everybody that we saw at the Lickin'. That was a really fun event. A lot of Canes fans rolled through there last afternoon watched some games, ate some food, drank some liquor or beer or water or whatever it was, then headed to the game right there, 5 minutes away. Very, very convenient setup to beat the traffic and get food, watch games. But Anthony Jones rolled through. That's how good the food. So Anthony Jones, 5-star player, was visiting. He was not planned at all. He just rolled through the lick, and he's like, man, I had the turkey legs last time, and I did the interview. I had to come back, get those turkeys because it was so good. I think he actually had the chicken and waffles to switch it up, and then his I don't know what you call it. One of his advisors, one of his mentors had the turkey legs. My guy AJ, shout out to AJ. But that's how good the food is. They keep coming back. Nick West, shout out to Nick West, man. You're the man. Great meeting you yesterday in person. Thank you for those beers, those non-alcoholic beers. And yeah, you're the man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you having my son's coach get into the game. Gave him an extra ticket. That guy had the time of his life, man. You made his month with that game. So Nick West, you are the man. Hope to see you in Oregon one of these times. Nicholas saying Lickin is cheating and recruiting. It's legal. It's legal. But yeah, Tank Jones, big dude, man. If you're listen, talk about Cantwell. If you're Anthony Jones, Tank Jones, 5-star defensive end from Mobile. By the way, love this kid. I mean, talk about my list of personal recruits. This guy's at the very top. He won the state championship in the discus. He plays basketball. He plays offense. He plays defense. He's highly productive. He's got great size. He's got great attitude. You're talking about if you're just me, I'm not speaking for UM, although I think they agree. But if you're talking about me, the guys I'm paying money to, I want them to be like Tank Jones. Play every sport, physical, productive, big, good, and you don't have to worry about them off the field. I'd rather pay those guys more. My personal take, like Jackson Cantwell. That's what the guys I want to operate with. But look, 2 visits during the first 4 games, pretty good. DJ Jacobs, so I'm curious to get an update on him, but he's a 5-star player in the class of 27, another edge rusher. He's probably seeing Marquise Lightfoot, Ruben Bain, and all these guys, and he's saying it's pretty good, pretty good. Plus, they're seeing full crowds. So awesome day for the recruits. Game day was incredible. This was just a really, really great week and weekend for the University of Miami. There's no other way to say it. It was just a special, special time and ended the right way. At the end of the day, three-score win. Put the exclamation point on a weekend of marketing and breathe easy for a week. As far as the Gators are concerned, we're going to breathe easy because we're not going to be playing in the, the hotels.com bowl or whatever they're playing in the foreseeable future once they get back to bowl status. Because I do believe they'll probably lose 10 games this year like FSU or something close to it. They are terrible, and their program is an embarrassment, quite frankly. Let's see what Mr. Grinch says. Would you take Lagway next year if he came tomorrow to come save him? I mean, I think we can do more than him at this point. He's more a rehabilitation project, but I think he'd be great with us. I think a lot of quarterbacks would be great with us. I still want CJ Bailey. I'm doing the tampering. JG, great night. My son and I got to meet D at the Lickin'. Appreciate you, man. And you got a great pick with the playmaker out the way of the stadium. Yeah, playmaker. That guy's energy is unbelievable. Big Papa saying Hard Rock last 2 years crushing the narrative of no fans. Yeah, I mean, it's been live, and it's going to be live all year. And then January 19th, 2025, at the Hard Rock. National championship. That's the goal. Nick Saban, you heard him. Miami's most complete team in the country. I think through 4 games, that is the case. You're talking about a quarterback who is 28-3, didn't play his best game, still got the win. Our running game, when you put Jordan Lyle in the mix, I think it's as good as there is in the country. Top 1 to 3. We have the best offensive line. I don't know anyone who's really fighting us on that these days. We've been saying it the whole time. Tight end, we got to get Lofton cranked up, but he's going to help us. Receivers get open, catch the ball. I think we're going to get more there with Josh Moore, JoJo Trader as time goes on. Best defensive line in the country. I think we could say that now. The defensive ends are clearly the best pair in the country. Ruben Bain being the best player himself in the country. Defensive tackles have stuffed every running game they've faced. Linebacker, same thing. Stuffed every running back they faced. 3 veteran players with Chase Smith, with length, with athleticism, and with striking ability. And in the secondary, I mean, no one's thrown on us. So we'll see what they're made of when they face better passing offenses, but nobody's doing anything. Kyle says, going back to something we talked about up top, D, I'm Mr. Optimistic, but Beck was awful. I mean, he was. He played bad. He'll be the first to tell you. 20-3, and we got the win. So I think he just needs to. My only concern is I just want to make sure that arm kind of comes back to life and gets the juice back. He's still learning. Remember, this guy missed Lagway missed everything, and you see how awful he is. Beck, same thing. Now Beck had more experience. That's what I think what allowed him to navigate that better. But Beck missed time just like Lagway missed time. Beck wasn't practicing with anybody, so he's still getting better. Assuming the arm is back live against FSU, which I think it will be, I think you're going to see a great game against FSU, and you'll see him get right back in the mix. But at the end of the day, what's he? Top 10 in the nation in completion percentage. He's 20-3 as a starter. He's won a bunch of top 10 games, I believe 5 against top 10 teams. He's navigated this very difficult schedule. And at the end of the day, look, as bad as UF is, this is not an easy schedule. Opening with Notre Dame, who I don't care what their record is. They're a tough team. Everybody knows it. They had just beaten Georgia in the playoff before you played them with a lot of the same players. So Notre Dame's tough. USF was a ranked team. They're giving a lot of teams problems. I mean, they almost beat Bama last year. They were really toe-to-toe with Bama until it got ugly late. Last year beat UF this year. USF's a real tricky team. They beat Boise State, which is a playoff team, pretty badly. So that's a tricky team to deal with. And then, of course, Florida rivalry game. So schedule's been tough and been as good as it could be, particularly health-wise, man. We've been missing guys that we needed. Like if you told me we didn't have Lyle, Lofton, and Trader basically producing, Lofton now produced in this game. If you told me those guys would be severely limited or out for the first 4 games, I'd be scared to death before the season, particularly in spring when those 3 were really our best guys. But to get through this stretch without them, I think says a lot about this team. Kirk says the downpour impacted our center's grip on the ball and Beck's grip on the ball. Very possible, right, with the snap infractions. But we got to navigate that. I mean, we play in Miami. It's going to be raining. It could be raining on January 19th. So we got to make sure that we're good there. Ladarius saying, did Dallas Wilson play? He did not. And I've heard rumors that he already wants out. I mean, that place is toxic. So watch US roster, circle guys, and see who you want to get. I mean, I'll tell you the guy I like there is Renell Brown. I don't think he will jump in the portal because dad's like an agent. So that whole thing is all interconnected and intertwined. But he's probably one of the guys I'd want offensive line. Obvious. I mean, they want to be scout team. We can bring him in, but they're not any good. Defensive line, nope. I mean, I can't. Who would you want on U.S. roster that's going to help us? That's worth getting. Baugh could be our third back when Fletcher goes pro. Vernell Brown. That's all kind of Ben Hanks for the future. But we got some good young receivers now. We got Jabari Antoine. So, yeah, we got some guys. Here's what Bangkok Vice says. Bad weather, couple drops from the receivers. That CJ Daniels drop could have changed the narrative a little bit. I agree. Tight ends didn't even look for the ball. Yeah, those were not on him. Tight end being Bauman, really. UF good defense, Beck will be fine. So, yeah, I agree as long as the arm is live. JR Barr saying, yeah, we take Baugh. I think we would take Baugh. I know I'd take shots at him. I think we take him. My whole thing with Baugh was always, you stay up at night worried about Baugh. I mean, I don't. Jeremiah Love, yes, even though we shut him down too. Baugh never struck me like that. I mean, 40 yards in this game. His offensive line stinks, but he'd be fine with us. I mean, I would take him in our rotation. He's tough, but nothing crazy. Unless we get him in the portal, then we'll start hyping him up again. But he's fine. I think Fletcher's the best back in the ACC and probably the best back in the. I mean, let's talk about Mark Fletcher. Marty Brown. We talked about. He's been absolutely enormous in both games we've won. I think he got the ball late in the game because Fletcher, fumbles. So you're a little worried about Fletcher down the stretch, and he's able to hold down to the ball. So I think that's why you see Marty Brown down the stretch doing what he does. And he was absolutely outstanding. But just talking about Fletcher, I'm trying to think of who I would take over him. Justice Haynes is doing a good job for Michigan. Wasn't really that good at Alabama, but now with better offensive line, he's doing good. So he's really good. Love with his dynamic ability. You always want him on your team. Those are really the two. And even Haynes, I think, Haynes is good, but it's not like I see a huge difference in what they bring to the table. Fletcher's just his side. Fletcher's ability to not get tackled. And I mean, they'll run him out of bounds. But he'll score a touchdown. Like, but he's not on the ground. He's like standing up, just dragging guys. Like, that's so demoralizing to have a guy that you may stop the play, but he doesn't even go to the ground because he's too strong and physical. So I just think what he brings from a physical standpoint, there's just not many guys that take over him. On top of the fact that as a pass blocker, he not only blocks the guy that's coming, he knocks them backwards and allows you to go. Muck City. Shout out to Muck City J. Good morning, D. Miami nasty defense back. Yeah, Muck City. We did an interview yesterday, and we'll chop it up here. We did interviews with Brian McKinney, Canes legend at the Lickin', and also Fred Taylor, a Gator legend at the Lickin'. He was a great guest. I mean, this guy's got a podcast with the Pivot. He's a pro, so he did an awesome job. But we talked to him about the Muck and why the Muck is no longer producing players at the rate it used to. And he had some incredible insight, like stuff I had never heard. He talked to the normal stuff, like the demographic shifts and stuff, guys going more to Palm Beach, to the West Palm Beach area. But man, he had some insights that I'd never heard before. Again, he's a Muck City legend. So Muck City J, if you like learning about stuff like that, which I assume you do, check out the interview with Fred Taylor at the Lickin'. We'll put it separately. Night King saying Fletcher only fumbled once so far in his Miami career. I think that obviously you know how I feel about Fletcher. I think he's one of the best backs in the country, championship player. But I do think if there's a weakness in him, it's just with the way he runs, that is a risk. And I think there were times last night where I think he could have played more down the stretch, and they went with Marty. I think Marty is he's more likely to hold on to it, just his running style. But Fletcher ran for 100 plus yards. Fletcher completely demoralized UF. He is a stud. He's one of the best backs in the country. I wouldn't trade Fletcher for anybody. I want him on my team. Kyle saying that's false. He fumbled at Louisville in the bowl game. I mean, look, he had some issues. I think he's going to be fine. But I understand why that's how it played out down the stretch. At the end of the day, this guy's one of the best players in the country and one of the best players on our team. And he's going to be a big reason why we compete for a championship is Mark Fletcher. So shout out to him with an easy 100 plus yards. Hassan saying they should have played Pringle. Pringle wasn't dressed. I saw him on the sideline. I'll find out what happened there. I mean, he was there. He was in all the huddles and stuff on the sideline. He just was not, it was just street clothes. So I don't know what happened there. Talking about it was in a sling. Yeah, I figured it was something injury related. There's talk about we need breakaway speed. Well, I'll say this. First of all, Fletcher's fast. Fletcher he's not like a sprinter on the track, but man, he's fast. When he gets going, you can see it in person. He's going. But I think Jordan Lyle is what we're talking about as far as the ability to, when Fletcher's pounding guys, maybe someone breaks a 90-yard run, 70, 60, 50-yard run. Jordan Lyle, to me, is someone that can do it. So that would be someone to keep an eye on is Jordan Lyle when he comes back. There's Night King saying Pringle banged up his shoulder last week. That's, physical games. Why you need a lot of running backs in that room. I think Jordan Lyle coming back is going to add that dynamic element. And then you keep Fletcher doing what he's doing. You have Marty Brown who's doing really well, and you throw in the Jordan Lyle. I think you're going to be, like I said, the best, in my opinion. I know Penn State fans are going to be like Penn State, and I don't blame Penn State for wanting to take their players. These guys have produced at a high level. They're NFL players. If I was a Penn State fan, I'd say I like my guys too. It's Katron Allen averaging 8 yards a carry. So yeah, these guys are pretty good. But for me, I'm rolling with Miami's running backs and not thinking twice because of the physical dimension they bring. Shout out to Boyo in Hamburg, man. Appreciate you. We get some merch here. What do you guys want to see for the Gators post-game merch? I want to rip on them for getting blown out twice by the Canes. So I'm working on some designs. You guys let me know what you want. But right here, I saw a lot of these jerseys at the game yesterday. I know my son was wearing one. The 20% off jerseys. Get right here, the classic Cam Ward. Discount automatically applied at checkout. You can also use promo code INSIGHT20 for 20% off your first item all across the store. Got headwear, youth gear for your kids, women, for the lady in your life. There we talk about Mark Fletcher. Got the Mark Fletcher authentic jersey right here. The Adidas slides, the green light blaze slides. It's, when it's raining like it is yesterday, sometimes you might want to wear something like that. Officially signed memorabilia. Anything you want. Miami Hurricane Team Store, MiamiHTS.com, promo code INSIGHT20. They will take care of you. Hassan asking, did the recruits enjoy themselves? We'll find out. I mean, I'm sure they did. It was an awesome time. I'll tell you what I enjoyed myself with the second I got home. It was a can of BUZZN. BUZZN. And that is at drinkbuzzn.com. Got a lot of people asking about BUZZN when I was at the game. Like, hey, what's up with BUZZN? Go to Big Daddy's Liquors. They got it there. You can also order it online at drinkbuzzn.com. First 50 for 50% off first order. So you might as well just order a case and be good for a while. Cherry, strawberry, watermelon, variety pack, you name it. All bubbles, no troubles. All hang, no hangover. Real fruit juices. Lab tested, social THC magic, bubbles with benefits. I could just read all these taglines. They're all true. But definitely I was watching the broadcast right after the game. I was up till like 3 a.m. just watching this game. Nice, cool can of BUZZN, man. So I know we got people that are interested because they always talk to me about it when I'm in public. drinkbuzzn.com. My guy Night King's got the white Fletcher jersey on right now. Big number 8. The first number 8. We'll see the second number 8. The most recent number 8 today with the Ravens, but the original number 8 right there. My guy Night King, one of the top quarterbacks in Broward County history. Kyle's asking the crowd last night versus Notre Dame. I thought the crowd last night was a little livelier. Maybe it was a game day or whatever it was. I thought there was a little more juice. Notre Dame was more nervous energy. This was more of aggressive energy. I think if we would have got on them early, like if we would have gone up 20-0 or something like we should have, I think you would have seen that place be an absolute madhouse. I mean, it was loud to begin with, but I mean, like it would have been crazy if we would have got out early. So there's like some like just tension that maybe kept the roof on a little bit because of the slop. But I think the crowd itself, the energy was great. If you're a recruit, it was really, really good. But yeah, I mean, bottom line, we're at the 1 hour mark, over 1,800 on like and subscribe. We're one of the best teams in the country. UF is done. They're not going to do anything for a long, long time. We're not going to see them unless we're playing in the Callahan Auto Parts Bowl. So good luck to the Gators because we're not going to be playing there anytime soon. Mohammed, I'm eating at East Las right now. My favorite restaurant in the world, also available on Uber Eats. Man, what a guy Mo is. He does the promo for us, and he does the super chat just to give the promo. So, Mo, appreciate you, but I know you're being honest because that place is the best. So, appreciate your support as always. Appreciate everybody that I saw at the game, that I saw at the liquor, that I saw at the pregame. Too many to mention, but man, appreciate everybody. People coming from Mobile, Alabama. People come from all over Florida. People come from Valdosta, Georgia, South Georgia. So everybody that we ran into yesterday, appreciate you guys. Thank you for the support. If you ever see me and again, you watch the show, don't be shy. Just say what's up. Appreciate everybody. Always love meeting you guys. And thank you guys for being part of this. Like and subscribe to the show. I got to go out to the heck, try to catch some of these recruits. There's a lot of them. So let's keep it rolling. We'll keep it rolling all bye week, every single day, multiple shows. We're going to keep it cranking here at CanesInsight.com. Pound that like button and that subscribe button. Go Canes.